Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Welcome to another video. Today's video is that time of the week again. It's the Premier League predictions video. Another round of exciting and intriguing Premier League encounters are almost upon us for this weekend. And of course, this is the video where I give my talk, analysis, and of course, attempt to predict the outcomes of each and every single Premier League game to come this weekend. Before we get into all of that, though, I would like to remind you all to please like the video and also subscribe if you are new. Both things will always and forever be greatly appreciated. And of course, I encourage each and every single one of you to get involved in the comment section down below. Use and abuse that section, people. Talk to me on all the games that are coming up this weekend. I'm sure what you have to say will make for great and interesting reading, whether it be your thoughts, comments, opinions, feelings. But most of all, of course, I want your predictions, because after all, people, where would a Premier League predictions video be after all without predictions? Sound good? Great. Let's move on, shall we? Let's start and kick things off with one of Saturday's 3 o'clock games. Again, no lunchtime fixture this week. Another absolute travesty from the people that are scheduling the Premier League season. No 12:30 kickoff, but we've got two 5:30 games coming up a little later, which we'll get into. But first and foremost, 3 o'clock games to start off with. We're at Turf Moor to begin with as Burnley take on Bournemouth. And as you can see, I've gone with a 2-1 victory in favour of Bournemouth. Burnley, their fate is looking more and more sealed by the week. It seems relegation is on the cards for Scott Parker's side going forward. And Bournemouth can heap more misery onto them. Look, it's not going to be without a lack of trying for Burnley. It's just, again, they just lack that bit of quality that is needed in key moments to really turn games in their favour. Bournemouth have that. Bournemouth do have that. They have the tendencies to do that. They have the qualities to do that. The players to certainly do that. Haven't shown it enough this season, Bournemouth. There have been times where they have slipped up on banana skin kind of fixtures like this. But you would expect the Cherries to get the 3 points and get the victory in this game. Next up, Sunderland taking on Brighton at the Stadium of Light, and I have gone with a 2-1 win in favour of Sunderland. Now, of course, Sunderland's incredible home form is a big reason why they are staying up in the division this season. And they're going against the Brighton side who, with the exception of obviously losing to Arsenal last week, although they weren't battered, of course, you kind of think that this has all the makings of a very intriguing game. Brighton are very up and down, very inconsistent. Sunderland recently have been as well. But the only reason why I'm giving them a slight edge is because of their home form. I know they have slipped up in the past couple of home games, but at the same time, in saying that, Sunderland do have a very strong home form. Maybe they're just finding out the kind of mental aspect and the physical aspect of the Premier League again. Maybe they are rediscovering that kind of strong aspect that may have seen them slip up a few for their past few games. Maybe that could be the case as well. Maybe it is a little bit a case of maybe teams are finding them out and maybe Sunderland have to adjust a little bit. But either way, against their Brighton side that are kind of inconsistent, with them being at home as well, I'm giving the edge to the home side and I'm saying Sunderland will win. Not a foregone conclusion. Could always be the case that Brighton get at least something from the game, but I'm sticking with my 2-1 to Sunderland prediction. Next up, one of the 5:30 games to take place this week. Why have we got two 5:30 games on Saturday? I really do not know. This is very, very strange to me. I don't get it. It is weird. But that is the reality of the situation. Whoever's doing the scheduling this year for the Premier League, I understand that there are more teams in Europe than usual this year. But at the same time, in saying that, you could have at least done these games better. You could have laid out these Premier League weekends better. Because again, it's another weekend of no lunchtime game. It's another weekend where the scheduling is very conflicted in terms of 2, maybe 3 games on at the same time. And yet Saturday at 5:30, we have this same case. First up, Arsenal taking on Everton at the Emirates. I've gone with a 2-1 win to the Premier League leaders. Obviously, last time out in the Premier League, Arsenal managed to stretch their lead back over Manchester City after City dropped points against Nottingham Forest. Arsenal's cushion at the top is restored. Everything is looking well again for Arsenal, even if they are still under the slight scrutiny of the way that they play their football, the way they play their games. Is it the most convincing? Is it the most lethal? Is it the most entertaining? No, and no, but they won't care because it is working right now, and that is all they need to somewhat hop across that finish line at the end of the season, if that, of course, makes it to be a reality. They're going against an Everton side who will be tricky customers, to say the least. Obviously, Everton away from home have actually been fine this season. Inconsistent, of course, but they are chasing some form of European football, so Everton do have something to play for in this game as well. And as we know, Everton can be a thorn in the side of a lot of the big teams in the Premier League, and Arsenal will obviously be, or should be, no exception to that. This has all the makings of an intriguing game, a game that could rely on very small differences, very marginal differences, and that is why I'm giving the edge to Arsenal. I think maybe it will come down to, as you probably expect, a set piece or something along those lines that Arsenal will take advantage of and use to their great effect. And that is where I think the differences will lie. Small differences. I expect Everton to score because Arsenal's defence past few weeks hasn't exactly been as watertight as we expect them to be. So I'm expecting Everton to get something from the game in terms of a goal. It wouldn't be out of the realms of possibility for Everton to get a point, but I just think that if Arsenal's tails are up, if they're feeling it after Man City drop more points in the Premier League title race, then it could be a case of Arsenal just stretching their lead as Man City play later on in the evening. Next up, we're off to Stamford Bridge, from one part of London to the other. And we have got an absolute classic Premier League game here. Chelsea taking on Newcastle at the Bridge, and I've gone with a 3-2 victory in favour of Chelsea in what I believe will be a 5-goal thriller. Chelsea leak goals. Simple as that. But they also score them. Newcastle leak goals. But they also have the potential and ability to score them against certain teams. And against the bigger teams, we know that they can give them big teams a good game in general. And I feel like they can do that. Chelsea's defence isn't exactly watertight, and especially from set pieces. If Newcastle can execute set pieces really, really well, we have seen Chelsea really struggle from those. So I believe that Newcastle can get something out of this game, but I just think Chelsea may have a bit more firepower up front. I think the likes of Enzo Fernandez, João Pedro, especially, may just tilt the scales in Chelsea's favour. Not going to be easy. It's going to be a bit topsy-turvy. It's going to be a bit crazy. It's going to be a bit of a basketball game maybe at times. But I'm expecting a very entertaining game to play out at Stamford Bridge between these two teams. And like I say, hopefully there's plenty of goals galore. I would like Newcastle to get the win here, but I just feel like Chelsea may have the extra bit of firepower that is needed up front in order to, like I say, win the game, get across the finish line with 3 points. And it will be a big 3 points at that, considering Liverpool and Manchester United and the games they've got coming up as well. Chelsea have got some tough games coming up as well, to be fair to them. But if they can get across the finish line here, then that will be a big win, big 3 points for Liam Rossinia's side. Next up, 8 o'clock game for our Saturday night viewing comes from the London Stadium. Another part of London plays host to another Premier League game in which West Ham United take on Manchester City. And I've gone with a 3-1 win in favour of City. Been a poor couple of weeks for City, really. FA Cup aside, losing points and losing ground on Arsenal, even though the advantage was right there in the palm of their hands when they drew to Nottingham Forest in the Premier League last time out. Fast forward to this past week, and they got absolutely slapped by Real Madrid in the Champions League. So this is an opportunity for redemption. This is an opportunity to redeem themselves for what has been a horrific couple of weeks for as far as what Pep Guardiola and Manchester City are concerned. And I think they've got a favourable game to do that. West Ham are battling relegation. West Ham will have something to obviously fight for in this game. And obviously, as we saw from another fellow relegation candidate in Nottingham Forest, it's never ever a foregone conclusion as to what goes on in these types of games. Everyone was probably expecting City to absolutely slap up Nottingham Forest. That obviously didn't happen. So West Ham come into this one with something to play for at the very least. Man City obviously need to get back on the wheel, so to speak, of chasing down Arsenal. Arsenal obviously play before City kick off, so that might add a little bit extra tension to proceedings. But I think that City overall will have everything in the right areas to beat West Ham. Whether it's defensively solid, midfield solid, and up front, they should have enough firepower to take their chances when they come to them, and of course put West Ham to the sword. So big week for City ahead. Massive week considering where they are in the Champions League right now. Massive week considering they are facing West Ham, and of course with a Carabao Cup final on the horizon as well. It's a big couple of weeks for Manchester City indeed, but they can redeem themselves here with a win over West Ham. Next up, Sunday's games. We're moving on to Sunday's games, and first and foremost, we've got Crystal Palace taking on Leeds United, and I've gone with a 1-1 draw. Now, Leeds United, of course, in the past few weeks have actually made a real fight of their potential relegation that a lot of people predicted them to get at the beginning of the season, myself included. They made a right fight of it. Fair play to them. Credit should go to Leeds United for making a fight of it. And they come up against the Crystal Palace side, who haven't exactly been firing on all cylinders in recent weeks. But in the past few weeks, they've just shown signs that maybe there's still life in them a little bit yet. We all know that there is seemingly some fallout, some tension at Crystal Palace. We seemingly know that obviously certain players have obviously left, big players at that, and big players have wanted to leave. And of course their manager seemingly doesn't really seem bothered whether he's going to be there or not. It seems like this is just a job to him now. It's intriguing as to what has really transpired and happened at Crystal Palace over the past couple of months or so. But, like I say, they are still not to be underestimated and not to be taken for granted. Palace still have key players and good players at that in key areas that will cause damage to Leeds United. And at the same time, Leeds United will obviously have the same back to Crystal Palace, which is why I think both teams will cancel each other out. It's going to be an intriguing game, this one that I think the points will be shared with. I'm going 1-1 and I'm sticking with that prediction. Next up, Manchester United taking on Aston Villa at Old Trafford, and I've gone with a 2-2 draw between these two sides. Look, Villa's season has fallen apart. The wheels have come off their season these past few weeks. Manchester United, of course, have found new life under Michael Carrick. Suffered their first defeat under Michael Carrick last time out in the Premier League to Newcastle, of course. And although I was initially thinking that maybe, just maybe, Manchester United will get the win, and I still kind of lean more towards that way if I had to pick a winner, I just got a sneaky feeling that Aston Villa will up their game a little bit, with it being Manchester United. Bit between their teeth again, with obviously the top four race, top five, top four, whatever race playing out as it has been doing these past couple of weeks. Villa are still very much in and amongst it, but obviously have lost a lot of ground on the top two and lost their kind of cushion of points over the likes of Chelsea and Manchester United in particular. And this would be an incredible way of obviously restoring a bit of that gap, especially, restoring themselves a little bit from the past few weeks over the other two teams that are in and amongst that top 4, top 5 battle. And obviously with them playing Chelsea last time out and getting absolutely slapped up, they really do need to redeem themselves. Whether they will do or not remains to be seen, but again, I think the Man United factor could play into it, and Aston Villa could actually step up their game here, which means they might actually get something from this game. But at the same time, in saying that, again, if I had to pick a winner, if I had to stick my neck out on the line and predict a winner, I am actually leaning more towards Manchester United in this one. So I'm leaning more towards United, but I'm sticking with my gut instinct of Aston Villa getting something from this game. Next up, Nottingham Forest are taking on Fulham at the City Ground, and I've gone with a 1-1 draw. Not been through lack of trying these past few weeks under their new manager Vitor Pereira for Nottingham Forest. They may not have got enough points to show for their efforts, but a big point last time out at Manchester City might go a long way come the end of the season. And they come up against the Fulham side, who we know can be very tough opposition for anybody in this league. When they're up for it, when they're firing, we know that they can be tough, they can be strong, and it wouldn't surprise me if they got the win in this one. It really would not surprise me if Fulham got the victory in this game as they push towards a high place finish in the Premier League. However, at the City Ground, Forest's home stadium, Forest full home support, again, fighting for relegation, showing fight in recent weeks. I've just got a sneaky feeling that Forest will get a point in this game. I really do, at the very least. I know that obviously Forest have got Europa League commitments this week, which might play into the hands of Fulham. We shall see how obviously the players do with battling 2 games a week, and maybe the rotation from the manager, how the manager handles it as well. So that could play into Fulham's hands, which might again tilt the scales in the away team's favour. But I've just got a sneaky feeling that Forest, with the fight that they've shown in recent weeks, may just get a point at Fulham here. They've shown enough for me to be convinced that they can get something from this game. Whether they do or not remains to be seen. Like I say, if I had to again stick my neck out on the line, I'm leaning more towards Fulham, but we shall see how this game plays out. Jumping ahead to Monday night's game, it is Brentford taking on bottom of the table Wolverhampton Wanderers, and I've gone with a 2-2 draw. Brentford, of course, may be looking towards European football for next season, which would be phenomenal for the Bees and phenomenal for Keith Andrews' side in general, if they are to potentially get that far. Obviously, still a lot of football to be played, and obviously they still need to work on their consistencies a little bit for the Bees, but they do currently lie 7th in the table, only 4 points behind Liverpool in 6th, and obviously 1 point ahead of Everton, and obviously Everton have got a tricky game. Bournemouth are also in and amongst that on 40 points in 9th, and of course they take on Burnley, so they have the potential to maybe close the gap and put a bit of pressure on Brentford before their game on Monday night. But it's been a brilliant season for Keith Andrews' side. And a season where a lot of people, and again, including myself in this, predicted them to potentially be relegated, considering that they lost 2 key players in Brian Mbeumo and Johan Visser, as well as their manager Thomas Frank, and their skipper Christian Norgard. Brentford have done really, really well this season, and props and full credit to them. Like I say, they have the potential to win this game. The likes of Igor Thiago up front, Kevin Schade, of course, Damsgaard, who's really, really come into form these past few weeks, and of course defensively as well, the likes of Nathan Collins and Kelleher and goal. They've got a very, very solid team working out at Brentford. But they come up against a Wolves side who may have their tails up. They are fighting with everything that they've got to make this relegation battle a fight. We saw it against Aston Villa in the West Midlands derby. We saw it again against Liverpool. They really do need to make that advantage count, though, by going away from home to Brentford and getting a win in this one. It's all right doing it against teams that you may see as a bit of a free swing, or whatever the kind of term is. But this game is not exactly like it's a foregone conclusion. Brentford, on paper, being the home side, under the lights on a Monday night, should be winning this game. There's no doubt about it. They should be winning this game. But we know that games aren't won on paper. We know that Brentford have the potential to slip up from time to time. And we know that Wolves, with the way that they've been playing in recent weeks, will give anybody a really, really good game, a good run for their money, and it could potentially happen again Monday night when these two teams clash. Again, I'm leaning more towards the home side than I am Wolves, but I think Wolves can get something from this game, which is why I am going for the 2-2 Desmond 2-2 draw. And finally, what I believe to be one of the biggest games of this round of fixtures, the main event of this Premier League weekend. It is live from Anfield. It is Liverpool taking on Tottenham. And I've gone with a 2-1 win in favour of the home side. Now, 2-1 does seem to be a very favourable scoreline between these two. It was 2-1 earlier on in the season. Spurs actually played really well in that game. They were probably unfortunate not to come away with anything, despite the fact that they went down to 10 and 9 men. But this game reeks, and not in a good way. It reeks of less El Clasico and more El Crapico. That is probably the best way to describe it. This is not going to be a pleasant game to watch. If you've been watching these two teams over the season, you'll know that the hopes of this game being a classic, as these two teams are put on in years prior, a great game to watch, an entertaining one. It might be entertaining for maybe all the wrong reasons, but an entertaining in terms of good football, a real show for the Premier League. I don't think that will necessarily happen. Spurs are down in the mud. Spurs are completely decimated of confidence right now. Now that I've said that, they're probably going to win on Sunday against my club. But no, like I say, past few weeks, even since Igor Tudor's walked in, Spurs have lacked fight. They've lacked any sort of intensity, any sort of will to even attempt to steer clear of relegation. They have done nothing to suggest to me or anybody else that they are up for this relegation fight. To put it this way, Wolverhampton Wanderers, who a lot of people saw as dead and buried in the Premier League, have shown more fight and more determination than what Spurs have done. And Spurs were obviously outside of the relegation zone when Tudor took over from Thomas Frank. Liverpool normally win these games. Tottenham's record at Anfield isn't amazing, especially not in the past few years at least. But at the same time, in saying that, don't take this game as much for granted. A few weeks ago, if you would have asked me how this game would have gone, I would have said Liverpool would win this game, and I was pretty confident at that. But since then, Liverpool's performances haven't exactly been inspiring or great either. And now I don't feel as confident as what I would have done a fair few weeks ago. So I'm still expecting Liverpool to win. I'm still anticipating the Reds to win because, again, I think we have enough in the final third. Tottenham make a number of mistakes. Liverpool capitalise from mistakes because that's the kind of only way that we actually, create opportunities through opposition mistakes. So if that is to happen again, then we will win this game. If Tottenham clear up their mistakes, if they show some fight on Sunday, if they are physical, if they play similarly to how they did against us in December, I know it was obviously under a different manager, if they manage to just curb their sort of fight and make it more disciplined than what it was in terms of obviously getting 2 players sent off, then obviously they might actually do a number on us on Sunday, and that could obviously be really, really bad news for Arne Slot, and that would be the most embarrassing defeat of the season. Forget losing to Chelsea or Man United, Galatasaray twice, Palace being played off the park by Palace. Forget absolutely getting destroyed by the likes of Forest and PSV, losing in last-minute moments to the likes of Bournemouth and obviously Wolves a couple of weeks ago. Rock bottom of the table, Wolverhampton Wanderers. Forget all of that. If Liverpool lose this game on Sunday, it'll be the most embarrassing loss of the season. It really, really would. It really, really would. So, hopefully that doesn't happen. I mean, even a draw would be very much embarrassing for the Reds as well. That can't happen. This is non-negotiable. This is win or bust. I mean, maybe not that dramatic considering there are still several games of the season left, but considering the race for top 4, top 5 is very much heating up right now, this is a must-win game for Liverpool. They need to do it. I think they will do it by 2-1. Won't be the most convincing. I'd probably expect Richarlison, who normally scores against Liverpool, to once again score another unimportant goal in the end. But, again, I'm not entirely confident, but I am sticking with my 2-1 prediction to the Reds. And there you have it. Those are just the thoughts, comments, opinions, but most of all, predictions of this guy. I want to know what you guys are thinking and feeling. Let me know in the comment section your thoughts, comments, opinions, predictions, feelings, whatever you want to call it. That I'm sure will make for great and interesting reading. Most of all, though, I do want your predictions after all. But other than that, hit the like button if you haven't already. Subscribe if you are new. Both things will always and forever be greatly appreciated. Thank you to each and every single one of you that has stopped by to watch this video. Can't thank you enough for the love and support on the channel. You guys are absolutely awesome. As always, I've been Fletch. This has been another Fletch Talks video, and I'll see and speak to you all again soon in another video or live stream or whatever it may be. Cheers, guys. Thanks, everyone, for watching. Take care of yourselves. Enjoy the rest of your day. Speak to you all again very, very soon.